No matter what the market does, we still have to save for retirement. On today's show, we'll outline 4 ways your retirement strategy should change after you turn 58.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy. Your retirement questions are answered here.
Shielding and protecting and growing the money that you've worked so hard for.
Ed Storer offers turnkey retirement solutions under one roof.
We handle every aspect of a person's finances.
The Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
It's the Wealth Training Academy. I'm Consumer Advocate Dave Perkins, along with Ed Storer, president of the Wealth Training Academy, your shield, your wealth coach, and the man who can build with his team behind him a solid retirement plan for you. And I do mean a solid retirement plan. And his team behind him includes those in the areas of tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, and estate planning, all in the same office. 800-563-7030 for Ed and his team. 800-563-7030. Hello, Ed.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing wonderful.
Good,
Another
good.
weekend, and every day is a step closer to normalcy. We certainly hope. And
yes,
we're able to watch Korean baseball on TV. Yay! How about that?
Well, I'm not even going to go there. I'm just leaving it alone.
All right. Well, as you mentioned, 58. Boy, you got that's definitely, I would say, the financial red zone age. So we're going to look at that age. And it's time to start rethinking the way you've always done things. Maybe get a little more conservative with your investments and start planning ahead. And you can help with this too, because my dad worked for the phone company his entire career, but people switch jobs. And so then at some point you got to track down all those accounts you created over the years.
True. After years of switching jobs and changing banks, it can be hard to actually know what you have to work with. So again, we talk about the idea of your business, or your retirement planning should be like a business, and a business owner and a good business knows their inventory. So gather up all your accounts and start to understand what you have to work with in the future. It's very important to do that. Know your inventory.
Now, is this when around the time you maybe focus less on accumulating and more on getting that budget in order, seeing where you can cut?
By the time you turn 58, the bulk of your savings should have already been done.
Hopefully,
now, it's different if you're a business owner. If you're a business owner, you're now starting to thinking about selling your business or transferring it to another legacy and or outsourcing it, or your world's changing if you're a business owner. But if you're a W-2 and you're an employee, you have to look at that. And even though you're still working and saving some, planning on making your savings last is most important. So you have to look at the most efficient way of finding out how to save at this age. You might start looking at part-time work as an option to working full-time. I know that may sound crazy, but people are getting laid off. People are, unfortunately, what do they call this now? Furloughing? They're being furloughed. So you might need to start looking at part-time jobs in addition to the unemployment that you're getting. I'm just speaking based on what is happening to us in this world that we're in today. Yeah. Also, you need to start looking at your expenses and start cutting back on some things that you were spending a whole lot of money on, especially at age 58. You don't need 14 million packages to watch TV, and they're all saying the same stuff. Cut cable, look at your debt, manage your debt, figure all that out. And that's very important, especially at 58. So you're now starting to take inventory. What can I cut? What can I reduce that will put more money in my pocket in my retirement?
But you're not suggesting we cut down to only the Murder, She Wrote channel, right? I mean, or Matlock. I mean, no.
Although I watch TV only for movies. So
me too.
I'm
really,
one of those guys.
Series. Yeah. I've trimmed way down, and I've got more than I can stand with what I have.
There you go.
Well, at age 58, Social Security is not that thing that's way off in the distant future anymore. So it may be a good time to start strategizing, thinking about Social Security, your plan.
Yeah, Social Security income will probably be one of the biggest assets that you'll probably have in retirement. So you need to start thinking much more once you hit that 58 about Social Security than you ever did before. For most people, you need to create that steady income, and it's essential. Remember, that's part one of our baskets that we talk about. That's part one of our system, is creating that income, that retirement income that you know is guaranteed, and that's part of it. And making sure you know when's the right time to take Social Security, when's the right time for your spousal to take your spousal for your spouse to take Social Security,
Mm-hmm.
and taking in consideration spousal planning is very important. So, there's ways to delay and then take spouse, but you need to make sure that your income first and foremost is guaranteed. And Social Security, when you hit 58, it's very important because you don't want to take it too early, but you don't want to take it too late.
Absolutely. And, Ed and his team, they provide the Financial Wealth Shield. And this is a good time to look at picking up that Shield financial wealth management system. It integrates tax, investments, insurance, estate planning, all with the Financial Wealth Shield, the Wealth Training Academy. And by the way, you can learn more about that at the website, wealthtrainingacademy.com. And you can talk to Ed and get his team behind you by calling 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. I don't know where you are with the hard and fast on the rule of 100, but I did a little ciphering here. And at 58, you should, if you follow the rule of 100, it's about 42% only should be at risk. Then getting a little more conservative with the investments, it is time to do that.
Truly, generally, as you get older, you should be getting more conservative with your investment. The rule of 100 is a good rule, especially once you figure out your budget. You can look at that rule of 100, and that basically says you take age 100, you take 100, subtract your age, and the difference between the two should be in investments as far as stocks and mutual funds, and the other portion should be conservative and something that can give you guaranteed income. So if you're looking at that way of the rule 100, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. If you plan to depend on your savings and your investment income to cover your retirement costs, you don't want to take that risk. Remember, by doing basket planning, by separating your assets over a diversified portfolio that is creating guaranteed income first, knowing that you'll have enough savings in cash and or CDs to cover at least 1 to 2 years, then creating another portion of guaranteed income that's offsetting the difference between the income you're getting in from Social Security and or pensions, creating that income to offset what you need for a budget, hence budget, and then investing the rest. That's how you do it. So after you turn 58, it's time to really evaluate your asset allocation, the mixture of cash, stocks, bonds, annuities, if that happens to be one of the things that you happen to use. Your overall portfolio is extremely important to look at. And you have to make sure that you're keeping up with inflation. You have to make sure you're keeping up with medical costs. That continues to rise. I don't understand why people aren't going, hey, you know something? Milk is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
And need I tease about there is no meat on the shelves.
Yeah.
But we have to look at that as far as our overall portfolio. We have to look at how the breakdown of being more conservative as you get older is more important. But that breakdown really needs to be based on income that you're going to need. And in 58, that's the time to take the inventory. That's the time to really take a look at, as we went through all this, take a look at all of your accounts. Where are they at? All your bank accounts. You'd be shocked and amazed how many times people walk through here and they have 5 or 6 bank accounts because they've gotten a deal on the CD over here,
Yeah.
or they have that checking account, or she has that account and that's her savings account and that's the cookie jar account, or that's the travel account, or they have a credit
here's my
union.
hall pass account.
Yeah. So it's time to take inventory. It's time to consolidate, It's time to put things together for your benefit. And one of the easiest ways to do that and to help minimize the anguish of doing this, because this is not easy. I mean, this is something that we've spent a lot of time in life creating. We have our own systems, if we would, but consolidating will actually simplify your world because you're now going to move into that world of retirement. And it's a switch that happens between accumulation and distribution. And we can help you do that. And we'll do that for the next 10 callers right now. If you call us right now, the next 10 callers, we will put together a full-blown evaluation. We will help you consolidate all those accounts through our wealth system. We have a system where we can just plug in all your accounts and you can see where they're all at, and they can come into one complete system. We'll do that for you. We'll evaluate your taxes, your investments, the costs that you have inside your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. If you're a business owner, we'll help you transition to the next legacy, your however you want to pass it off. If you want to sell it, we'll help you do that. Give us a call. The next 10 callers right now, we will develop a full-blown analysis where we've seen people just doing a one page. We'll evaluate where you're at. We'll show you how to do the whole thing through our system. And you need to have a system in retirement.
And you know, a lot of advisors can charge up to $1,000 just for a one page, and you're offering a full-blown analysis. And this could be the start of getting Ed and his team behind you as your retirement partners. 800-563-7030. No cost or obligation to the next 10 calling. 800-563-7030. And learn how Ed and his team can custom build a retirement plan for you. And it's a holistic plan. Ed and the Wealth Training Academy team covering everything from building an income plan, investments, taxes, health insurance, and estate planning. 800-563-7030 to schedule your no-cost, no-obligation, full-blown analysis and consultation with Ed Storr. It leads Ed to the information he needs to craft your retirement plan. Income for life, the right amount of risk, the proper protection from the pitfalls of retirement. That's what you get with your personal retirement from Ed Storr of the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. We are just getting started with more great information. Straight ahead, what's coming up, Ed?
The wild market swings have had many people wondering how to protect their portfolio. Well, when we come back, 3 retirement wealth protection tactics we'll talk about.
He's letting the clock run out on his Social Security to age 70 for maximum benefits. And here comes the Roth conversion. He's locked in for income for life. He's got some outstanding coaching with that annuity plan. He's created his own pension as well, and it looks like he's going to go all the way.
Play your best retirement game. Call Ed Storr and the team at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Ed Storr, 800-563-7030. Welcome back. It's the Wealth Training Academy. Consumer Advocate Dave Perkins with Ed Storr, who is heading up the team at the Wealth Training Academy. A turnkey firm it is. Tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same office. And you can learn more at the website wealthtrainingacademy.com. And as a matter of fact, there on the homepage, click on the contact tab and you can submit your question that you very well may hear on this show. Every week we close out the show with questions that have been submitted on the website wealthtrainingacademy.com. Taxes, they're with us in retirement even. Don't let them derail your retirement and estate planning strategies. They don't go away ever. Consider these strategies involving maximizing Roth IRA possibilities, health savings accounts to keep more of what you've saved over the years. And a good starting point is analyzing your retirement savings.
Analyze that retirement savings. As we mentioned, taxes. It's like bad luggage. You're never going to get rid of them.
Never. Never. I could throw in a few other things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we talked about in the first segment, and the first part of the show here is taking the inventory of all your accounts. Well, we really need to take an inventory of our retirement accounts. Many of you out there probably have retirement savings accounts all over the place. Some of those are tax deferred, while others are tax free, such as your Roth IRAs, and as well now the opportunity to invest in the Roth 401k. They all add up. It's amazing how many accounts we have, and determining how much we have in retirement for savings is extremely important. So you take all those accounts, add them all up. They're probably all over the place. They're sitting around in multiple custodians, old 401ks that you left your job. Now's the time to start bringing them together.
And, we mentioned that your team, you have people in all areas of expertise, including taxes, of course, and that's where, so when we talk about that consultation, the full-blown analysis, one of the things I know that you look at with your clients, of course, initially especially, is assessing looking at the retirement savings and then assessing the retirement tax liability.
That's true. So after you add everything up and figuring out what's up, we've got to understand taxes in retirement. That's based on basically how much of your retirement savings is held in tax deferred accounts, such again, one more time, as your traditional IRAs, your traditional 401ks, your 403bs, simple accounts, SEP accounts if you're self-employed, and so forth. So because you have to look at tax deductions and you have to look at how the accounts are tax deferred when you're going to take money out of these accounts is very important. Looking at your budget, understanding how much income you're going to need from those accounts, then calculating the taxes you're going to pay. Taxes are actually going to be one of your biggest expenses right there with medical in retirement. So knowing what these accounts will do, knowing how much tax you're going to have on these accounts are very, very, very important.
And we are going to look at some wealth protection strategies in this segment, but also like last segment, we looked at the age 58. Now 72 is another benchmark age in retirement. And although they're waived this year, though, you have to factor in they are coming back, the old RMDs, required minimum distributions.
Yeah, the higher those tax deferred accounts that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The more taxes you're going to pay.
Yeah.
While Congress has recently pushed the required minimum distribution from 70.5 up to 72. The thing is, at 72, you still have to take required minimum distribution. You need to figure out exactly how much that required minimum distribution is going to be, base it over your lifespan, and then you might be able to, here's a word I hate, guesstimate how much taxes are going to be being paid in the future based on some sort of rate of return. And our systems can help you calculate that and figure it out. Our systems have it figured out to a full-blown plan to do that. Now remember, this year, we don't have to take required minimum distribution. So it's an unusual year. You don't have to take that required minimum distribution for yourself if you're already in the required minimum distribution time zone.
And another thing your team could do is keep a calendar on your clients and remind them you need to get this out when the RMDs are back, or you may as well just write a check to Uncle Sam because there's 50% penalty plus the taxes owed.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty
again, with our system, we set it up so it automatically happens.
Yeah.
Everybody knows exactly when they're getting their paycheck.
You don't need to remind them. Okay, it just happens.
You don't need to remind them. It's built in our system.
All right, good deal. Wealth protection strategy number 1. Consider a Roth conversion.
Absolutely. Converting now to a Roth probably makes more sense than ever before. This is the value of the market dropping.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh my God, there's a value here? Yes, there's a value there. A Roth conversion really involves moving some or all of your traditional IRA funds into a Roth and pay the taxes now. The result is basically a reduction of your retirement tax bill in the future. The period between when you retire and when you take your required minimum distributions is actually what we call the golden opportunity to convert to Roth, because hopefully, if you've done this right, it will be one of your lowest income tax brackets one of your lowest tax brackets of all time, if you've done this right. If you haven't done it right, it can be one of your biggest tax situations. That's why making sure you sit down with a tax advisor who works with an investment advisor is very important, because the two must come together in order to pull this off. If you don't want to pay taxes on the conversion, you still have time to make contributions to Roth IRAs and or Roth 401ks. So it might be, instead of converting, you just maximize the amount that you can put into both the Roth IRA and or the Roth 401k.
And we are looking at some wealth protection strategies, good tax strategies in this segment for your retirement plan with Ed Storr of the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. We don't want to leave out estate planning in these wealth protection strategies and building that trust for a solid estate plan.
Absolutely. One of the, I'm actually boggled sometimes when people walk in, they say, my investment person says I don't have enough assets to do a trust, and they're sitting on $750,000 to $1 million, and or their attorney said, oh, you don't need a trust simply because you have $500,000. That tells me right there that the investment person, the trust attorney, or the person who did the trust don't understand trusts, and they aren't working with CPAs and enrolled agents to maximize the opportunity, because trusts can be a very, very good tax vehicle. There are multiple types of trusts. If you're just getting a certain kind of trust that's just asset protection from lawsuits or car accidents, or someone's at your house, they trip and fall and break a leg and they decide to sue you, so you put all your assets into a trust. That's called asset protection. However, there are multiple other trusts are out there that can help you reduce your taxes. There's charitable remainder trusts. There's conservative trusts. There's the revocable life insurance trust. There's the irrevocable life insurance trust. There's the charitable remainder trust. There's the qualified domestic trust. There are so many different types of trusts out there that could offset the way you're doing your taxes or the way you're taking your income, that you really need to understand and do estate planning correctly with a team that understands taxes and estate planning when you're doing your estate planning. So I can't harp on that one enough.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. Now, of course, that also comes under the umbrella of the Wealth Training Academy, estate planning. And in the time we have remaining, just a little bit of time, we don't want to leave out the triple play of tax strategy with the health savings accounts if you're eligible.
If you can take a deduction on a health savings account contribution, when you make the contribution, that's a tax deduction. Health savings accounts grow tax-free. Yay, that's 1 and 2. Health savings account can be taken out tax-free as long as they're used for qualified healthcare expenses. That's three strategies on the healthcare savings account that you should be doing. And our Medicare specialist can show you how to take the health savings account and maximize the cost you're paying or reduce the cost you're paying on your Medicare expense.
Well, that's good. They are good wealth protection strategies from the Wealth Training Academy. Now,
again, if just give us a call, because here's the thing. Next 10 callers, give us that call. We will do a full-blown evaluation for you. We'll look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. Estate planning, we just hit really hard. There's costs, there's fees, there's commissions built up in all this, and you need to know what they are before you get into that point of retirement. You're hitting age 58, you need to know your inventory. We'll help you create the inventory. We have a turnkey system. Just like you as a business owner knows what's going on with their inventory, you need to know what's going on with yours. We'll do the evaluation for you for free. Taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning. We'll look at your whole situation, and we'll help guide you to the next area of your life, which is the distribution phase, when you're starting to retire and live on those assets. So for the next 10 callers, we'll do a full-blown review. If you have $250,000 or more in your retirement accounts, we'll do a full-blown review for you: taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning.
And it is at no cost or obligation for the next 10, 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Ed Storr and his team at the Wealth Training Academy can customize a retirement plan for you that includes income. It includes protection. It includes that good estate planning and estate planning strategy, tax strategy too. They can offer turnkey retirement services. They do that with the Tax Advisory Group, Investments Made Easy, Insurance Made Easy, and Essential Estate Planning, all coming under the umbrella of the Wealth Training Academy. Ed and his team can draw your retirement roadmap. It starts where you are now, gets you where you need to be in retirement, to and through. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy. Thank you for listening. More information to come. What's next, Ed?
When we come back, investing in a recession. We've heard about them, but we don't understand them. Active versus passive strategies. When we come back, we'll kind of break them down a little bit and look at which ones you should be utilizing in the bear market.
And now, a nightmare retirement consultation. Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it. Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030.
The Wealth Training Academy continues. Consumer advocate Dave Perkins with Ed Storr, who heads up the team at the Wealth Training Academy, and a team with expertise in taxes, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all there in the same office. And Ed has a question on taxes. He's got somebody very close by he can ask. And you can get this team behind you by calling 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Well, that March market sell-off threw us into a bear market, and this is after the longest bull market in history. So with this economic downturn, investors, of course, are wondering if they have the best investment strategy implemented for their portfolio, passive or active. We're going to break down some strategies to see what might be best for you. Ed, what is the difference between active and passive investing?
There's a huge fundamental difference between the two of them. And active and passive investing, their approach is completely different. Active managers do kind of an ample research and take an analytical approach to their investment strategy, while passive index funds rely on diversification, which is a long-term investing approach. Hang in there, it will come back kind of theory.
Okay.
So, yeah. An active manager has portfolio managers that attempt to beat the average stock market performance by taking advantage of short-term market fluctuations. As the name suggests, active investors constantly are monitoring the prices of their portfolio and finding different ways to buy and sell in opportunities. So if you have a mutual fund that's an active mutual fund, the managers in there constantly buying and selling and so forth, hence causing a lot of different situations and costs to you. Where the passive investing, on the other hand, significantly lowers the fees. There's no manager required. It focuses on buying and holding, usually indexes, for long term. Since an investor's position is diversified, or should be, should be diversified across different industries, and the passive investor does not involve research. It basically just kind of monitors what is going on with the stock market.
Makes sense.
The goal of the passive investor is to meet stock market performance rather than trying to beat the benchmarks. Like an active manager tries to beat the benchmarks.
Something I was trying to think of a football analogy. Active would be the coach on the sideline. Passive would be you with a big bag of potato chips watching the game from home. That's probably not the best analogy for it. What strategy works better in a recession, active or passive?
Wow. Now, there is the great question. So I'm going to break it down based on kind of, first and foremost, the approach to the industry. Naturally, passive funds are more certain and secure. A passive investor, a person, if you're a passive investor, generally you know what your expectations or earnings will be. You have an expectation because you're kind of following the indexes. An active performance, however, can be a little bit more difficult because it's trying to predict opportunities that they can potentially forecast and foresee and or take advantage of situations that's happened, such as the market going down. Okay. And when the market goes down, there's tons of opportunity to take advantage of buying opportunities, where the passive investor will just ride it completely down, not take advantages, not take opportunities to even do conversions, not take opportunities to reposition, because they are the buy and hold theory.
Yeah.
Buy and hold in a very difficult market such as we are in now can cause a lot of stress, a lot of anguish, a lot of pain. Hence, the active manager is constantly repositioning the portfolio, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that. So they're taking opportunities, they're taking advantage of the opportunities of buying while everything's low. Because guess what? We're still going to need Google. We're still going to need grocery stores.
Not going away. Yeah.
Not going away. Actually, probably having a pretty good profit right now.
Well, yeah, they're doing okay, I would imagine. Yeah.
So the companies, the difference between the active and the passive strategies, which one is best? They are both best. And let me explain why.
You're saying maybe blend the two?
There you go. We actually do that. So I'm going to skip from over the whole idea of what we do with the planning, and I'm just going to focus right on the investing part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We actually do that. We take a kind of a I made up this word, stratactical. It's strategic.
I like
and tactical combined together. And if you're one of my clients and you're listening to me, yes, you've heard me say stratactical.
I like it.
So we actually combine both of the theories together and take advantage of both. We utilize the passive idea or the indexes to cut costs. But we also have managers that are designed to take advantage and reposition your portfolio when it's necessary, such as now, to take advantage of that. What that means is, so if you're rebalancing your portfolio, which you should be, versus that's an active versus passive where they just buy and hold. Everybody starting to see the difference?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
If you're being active and you're rebalancing that portfolio, you're taking advantage of the opportunities, because all of a sudden your portfolio is 70% bonds. You sell off those bonds, you buy the stocks when they're low. When they come back up, you reposition again back to the bond allocation, and or you look at dividend opportunity. Where's the dividend paying the most, where I can get the best income off of that, hence growing back into my portfolio, and you dollar cost average that dividend back into it. If I'm getting too deep, let me know. That's why you have to have both.
I was going to ask you, Ed, I know historians are going to scratch their head on how Wall Street and Main Street reacted to this pandemic, because it looked really bleak in March and not so bleak now. I mean, I know the Fed has done a lot to pump up Wall Street, but Did a lot of people become more active during this because they saw some bargains after March?
We did. We looked at the idea of repositioning portfolios. We had already created. See, we've already created the income to begin with. We've created the income coming into you where you don't have to worry.
Mm-hmm.
We've already designed all that. So when we're focusing on the investment side of the portfolio, just the investments, not the income that you need to have first and foremost, which we already talked about, but we're talking baskets, 3 and 4 in our system. We're looking at the best opportunities. What's the best interest rates? What's the real estate that we can take opportunities with? There's real estate opportunities. People aren't aware of that. And I'm not just talking about buying and flipping houses, by the way. I'm talking about there's real estate opportunities within portfolios that you should be taking advantage of. We've repositioned those portfolios around. We're converting and helping people convert right now to Roth. These are all active strategies that you should be doing and looking at. Then, when everything's doing fine, you can adopt the passive side of things and go back into the indexes.
That makes sense.
And with the low fees, because again, your fees are going to be extremely expensive. Your commissions that you're paying for this are going to be extremely expensive, especially in 401ks. And if you're trying to do this and combine this, the passive and active, which you really should be in once you get to that point, Ray, magic age of 58, once you really start looking at your portfolio, because it's now more important to hold on to what you've got than it is to make a whole lot.
That sounds like
As
a song.
we talked about the first part of the segment, it's more important to look at the active and passive combination of cutting fees. And if you don't know how to do that, then you're in a world of trouble. Call us. The next 10 callers. Look, we're going to do this again. The next 10 callers, we will give them a free, full-blown evaluation. We will look at their taxes, their investments, the costs of their investments. Are they active? Are they passive? The fees that you're paying inside those, you need to know that first and foremost. Your insurance costs, your estate planning, how ways you can minimize taxes through all this, because taxes are going to be one of your biggest expenses. We will evaluate the whole thing. We'll show you how to bring all of your different accounts together in one system that you can see. You'll literally be able to see all of your holdings in multiple areas. You don't have to move things. You don't have to change what you're doing, but you should understand where you're at. We'll do that free evaluation for you. We've seen people charge $1,000 for just a one-page investment evaluation only to try to sell you something. But what we're fiduciaries. We're going to look at what is the best way for you to move forward into the world of retirement. When you hit that magic age of 58, we'll help you out. Next 10 callers, give us a call. $250,000 in your portfolio, we'll do it for free.
And then what an offer, too, from Ed, a full-blown analysis for the next 10, 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. And this is for retirees and also pre-retirees. We've talked a lot about the age 58 on the show today. This is common sense planning. This is straight talk from Ed and his team. It's not financial double talk. It's not a sales pitch. You need to sit down and get that financial roadmap put together. Ed and his team can translate for you that complex financial world into very clear instructions. And what is so cool about it, especially when things get back to normal and they're actually always in the same physical location, Ed can walk down the hall with your tax question or with your estate planning question, with your insurance question, with your investment question, because the team is there. The Wealth Training Academy team. Next 10, a full-blown analysis by calling 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030, a comprehensive financial review at no cost or obligation, 800-563-7030. Now, keep this website in mind when Ed tells you how we're going to close the show out, wealthtrainingacademy.com, because, Ed, we're going to get a little interactive here, bring the listeners in and your clients in, people with questions, right?
Absolutely. We've been getting some questions on our website, and we're going to be talking about those questions and help answer some of those when we come back.
When should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy, 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030.
Welcome back. It's the Wealth Training Academy with consumer advocate Dave Perkins and our conversation with Ed Storer, the president of the Wealth Training Academy, serving folks in Greenville and the surrounding area for years, building retirement plans for them. Ed putting his team to work and himself to work to build a good plan for you that encompasses tax and investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all there under the umbrella of the Wealth Training Academy. Now, here's an important website because you can hear your question on the air. WealthTrainingAcademy.com. WealthTrainingAcademy.com. Can't ask for anything more user-friendly. Homepage, click on Contact and submit your question. You could very well hear it on the air, like the ones we have lined up to close out the show. One from Piedmont, Ed. I know the CARES Act changed the rules for 401k withdrawals. I've also heard you say that I should only take money out as a last resort. Well, what are some alternatives to taking money from my retirement to help me through this time? I'm 62, plan to work till 67.
Great question, Piedmont. Okay. What are some of the alternatives I should be looking at besides taking money out of my 401k? Let's take a look at some of the areas that you may have some assets. Your house. Their home is a great tool if you utilize it like a tool. So a home equity line of credit could be utilized. Interest rates are very low. You have to have obviously good credit to be able to do this. Interest rates are low, so taking money out of a home equity line of credit really makes sense to do that right now, as long as you're not spending the money on something that is gambling. Please don't spend your money on going to Vegas to do this.
Oh, so that's not a good plan. Okay.
Not a good plan. Yeah, not a good plan.
Hey, cancel my flight.
So another thing is you may want to look at, believe it or not, a personal loan that you could utilize, or also here's a neat little trick. There are plenty of credit cards out there right now. They're offering 0% for a year to 2 years. So there's other ways to leverage dollars you need other than potentially taking it out of your 401k. Now, that being said, please do not go into debt unnecessarily just because you want that jet ski or because you think you need another big screen TV or look.
But it has surround sound.
This gentleman, well, this person's 62. Okay, so this person's 62. You should be on that. You should get beyond that point. Now's the time, as we talked about earlier. Now's the time where you should be looking at what you've already accumulated and not what you can accumulate. This is where you take your inventory. So I would highly suggest this person actually give us a call, because there's so much that is out there that I'm not really understanding that I could do. Like, for instance, taxes. How's this going to affect his taxes? Maybe he has money into a Roth account that isn't mentioned here, and that could be a tax-free distribution to him. So there's so much that this person really should give us a call.
Yeah, that 0% credit card, though, you'd want to definitely make sure you have it paid off before that no interest period's over.
Yeah, definitely.
Tony Soprano would come to your door. We're very close to what could happen. All right, from Greenville. I'm retired. I have a portfolio with 40% stocks, 60% bonds, using U.S. and international index funds. Due to market volatility, I'm considering investing in an index annuity with 25 to 30% of my investment funds. Is an index annuity a good idea to include in a retirement portfolio?
Is an index annuity a good idea to include in a retirement portfolio? It may be. It may be. This person, we would have to look at where they're at, how they're investing. I know this, they've said, 40% in stocks and 60% bonds.
Yeah.
Um, and they're using index funds. I'm going to take a stab that this person's actually still inside their 401k, just simply because of the way they mentioned what they're investing in, and putting 25 to 30% in invest within an index annuity. They're probably looking at rolling a portion of their 401k out into an indexed annuity. There are a plethora of indexed annuities out there. Some are good, some are bad. I would highly suggest this person sit down with a person who is a fiduciary first and foremost, and not just a fancy insurance agent trying to sell him a bunch of wares. Okay. Because if the only thing you have is a hammer, everything becomes a nail. Instead of the saw, you need to cut the wood in building a financial house. So you really need to sit down and evaluate what your portfolio is doing. You really need to look at why someone would suggest putting it into an indexed annuity first and foremost. There are indexed annuities that give income riders. There's indexed annuities that lock in values. There's indexed annuities that are 5 years. There are some that are 10 years, some are 15 years, and they have time limits on there. You're limited on the amount that you can take out, but you can take some out. So there's good and there's bad things. Please give us a call on this and we'll walk you through this, because you're going to need more than just, should I roll a portion of my money into this annuity? You're going to need to look at, when are you going to access this money? How long do you plan on deferring the money into it? What's the costs? There are costs in these annuities.
Yeah.
Please understand that. It might be cheaper for you not to be in the annuity and go into the laddered CD portfolio. Who knows? Because remember, the indexes are down right now, and unless you're really utilizing these annuities for an income strategy program down the road, you're not going to make great returns on them. So you need to look at all the aspects and what you're trying to do with your investments and your retirement income first and foremost, before just making that leap. So yes, index annuities can be good. They can be bad, but there's a lot of things in there that you really need to know first and foremost.
Ed Storer of the Wealth Training Academy is answering your questions submitted to the website wealthtrainingacademy.com. And he can definitely answer a lot of your specific questions with that consultation by calling 800-563-7030. You can schedule that, 800-563-7030. I'm going to close it out with one from Simpsonville. Should I purchase an indexed universal life insurance plan so I can take loans out later when I retire that are tax exempt, or save my money for retirement in a Roth IRA? Does the life insurance have higher fees in comparison to paying tax on the Roth IRA?
Ooh, this person has done some homework.
Yeah, they've
I
been
like it.
on the Google, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. First and foremost, an index universal life insurance plan is a good vehicle. I'm not saying they're bad vehicles. The costs are going to potentially be a little higher than if you were just investing in passive. Okay, this kind of fits right into what we talked about earlier, especially if you're just investing in passive index funds. Sure, the cost is going to be a little bit more with inside the investment vehicle itself. The tax-free loans that you can take from the Index Universal Life Insurance Plan makes a lot of sense. You can also take tax-free money out of the Roth. The neat thing is, how much money are you looking to contribute? So therein lies the big question. Are you looking to contribute more than you can inside a Roth IRA? And if so, then it might make sense. Are you looking to combine the idea of this being a life insurance policy, or are you just looking for the income from it? It might be a very expensive Roth IRA that you're doing then. This person really needs to give us a call. If you're listening to me today, please give us a call, because you're moving into an area that definitely needs to look at taxes and definitely needs to look at your overall investments and your insurance cost. You need the CPA enrolled agent, you need the investment advisor, and you need the insurance advisor. All of them need to be fiduciaries to help you out. Look, the next 10 callers are, if you're experiencing something similar to this and you need help and you have $250,000 in your portfolios, give us a telephone call. For the next 10 callers, we will do a full-blown review for you. We'll evaluate where you are: taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning. We'll look at all the hidden fees and commissions that you're paying. We'll help evaluate. We'll take an inventory of where you're at today. We'll help you consolidate and move and reposition. We are planners. First and foremost, we're fiduciaries, and we'll help you out. Questions such as the one we just had here are very important to be answered by utilizing your team. I'm not alone in doing this. I have a whole team behind me, and I can't do this correctly for you without a team. Nobody can. You have to have taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning to pull off your retirement. Just like a good business owner needs to have a team of people helping him run his company, you need a team of professionals to take you to and through retirement. Give us a call, the next 10 callers.
No cost or obligation. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. An outstanding offer for an opportunity for retirees and pre-retirees, where Ed and his team will set up a plan, talk to you about what can be your plan, common sense planning, straight talk, and at the same time translating that complicated financial world into clear instructions. A comprehensive financial review for the next 10, offered at no cost or obligation. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. You talk about turnkey. That is the Wealth Training Academy and the firm serving folks in the Greenville and surrounding area. Tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same office. The Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Ed, we're off to go to the virtual sports bar and watch some Korean baseball.
Well, have fun with that.
Thank you. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, everybody be safe, be kind to one another.
We'll see you next week on the Wealth Training Academy.
Insurance services offered through the Wealth Training Academy and Insurance Made Easy, LLC. Investment advisory services offered through Sophos Investment Incorporated, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Sophos is not affiliated with the Wealth Training Academy or any other entity listed herein. The opinions in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Sophos. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as investment advice. Tax services are offered through the Wealth Training Academy and the Tax Advisory Group, LLC. Tax services offered are to help business owners and individuals create sound tax planning strategies that are custom suited to their individual needs and objectives.